If a company shuts down tomorrow, who gets their money back first? The shareholder or the debenture holder? Most candidates get this wrong and lose easy mark. Give me the next 10 minutes and you will never confuse a share with the debenture again. Let's get straight into the share capital and the debentures lecture. In this video, you will learn 5 things: the kinds of share capital, alteration and reduction of share capital, issues of shares, that is, rights, bonus, and buyback, debentures, and the key doctrines the examiner loves. Stay till the end, the last 2 minutes are pure exam gold. First, kinds of share capital, section 43. There are two kinds of share capital: equity and preference. Equity shareholders are the true owners of the company. They carry voting rights and they get dividend, but only out of the profits. And if the company decides to pay it, in simple terms, think of equity shareholders as the partners in a shop. If the shop makes money and the partners decide to share it, they get a cut. If there is no profit, there is no dividend. That's the risk of ownership. Preference shareholders are different. They get a fixed dividend, a promised rate, and they get it before the equity shareholders. And when the company winds up, they get their capital back before the equity shareholders, too. In simple terms, a preference shareholder is like a partner who said, pay me my fixed share first and return my money first if the shop ever closes. Less risk but no real control. One more point: preference shares must normally be redeemed within 20 years as per section 55. A company cannot issue irredeemable preference shares, shares with no end date. Now, here's where the students slip up: the difference between altering the capital and reducing it. Watch carefully. Alteration and reduction of capital, section 61 and 66. Alteration of capital, section 61, can be done by an ordinary resolution if the articles allow it. Alteration means things like increasing the capital, consolidating, subdividing, or cancelling the shares that were never issued. And remember this line, it's a favorite trick question. Cancelling unissued shares is not a reduction of capital. Why? Because unissued shares are now are shares nobody ever bought. Taking them back hurts nobody. No shareholder loses money, no creditor is affected, it's just tidying up. Reduction of share capital, section 66, is the serious one. This is a real reduction, actually giving capital back or writing off lost capital. For this, you need a special resolution of the shareholders plus confirmation by the NCLT, the tribunal. Why so strict? Because now the real money is leaving the company. That can hurt creditors, the people the company owes. So the law adds the tribunal as a checkpoint to protect them. So the easy way to remember: alteration equals ordinary resolution, reduction equals special resolution plus NCLT. High stakes creditors are protected. Further issue, bonus and buyback, section 62, 63, and 68. When a company issues new shares, the law says they must first be offered to the existing shareholders in proportion to what they already hold. This is called the rights issue or the doctrine of preemption. In simple terms, if the shop is expanding and is issuing new ownership, the current partners get the first right to buy in. So their share of the company isn't quietly diluted by the outsiders. The company can also issue shares by private placement or through preferential allotment through a special resolution. Next, bonus shares, section 63. These are the shares that are sold by the existing given to the existing shareholders out of the company's free reserves. But remember this clearly: bonus shares can never be given in lieu of dividend. In simple terms, bonus shares are like a royalty reward from the company's savings. They are not a substitute for paying your cash dividend. Now, the important one: buyback of shares. This is when a company buys back its own shares. It can do this out of its free reserves, securities premium, or the proceeds of a fresh issue. Three numbers to memorize. The limit is 25% of the paid up capital plus free reserves. After buyback, the debt to equity ratio must not exceed 2 is to 1. And the shares bought back or extinguished, that means cancelled, gone forever. In simple term, buyback is the shop owner buying out some partners and tearing up their ownership papers, usually to return spare cash or push up the value of the remaining shares. Everything so far was about owners. Now we switch to the lenders, and this is where your hook question gets answered. Debentures, section 71. A debenture is simply an instrument that acknowledges a debt. The person holding it is a creditor, a lender, not a owner. So they get fixed interest, not dividend. They get paid whether or not company makes profit. In simple terms, buying a debenture is like giving the company a fixed deposit or a loan. You are not a partner in the shop, you are the person the shop owes money to. You get your fixed interest regardless of profit. Debentures can be secured or unsecured. When secured, they are backed by the company's assets like land, building, or stock. If it's land or building, that's a fixed charge. If it's a stock, that's a floating charge. We'll explain both in a second. They can also be convertible or non convertible and redeemable. Two protections you must know. A company cannot issue debentures carrying voting rights, and the law requires a debenture redemption reserve and a debenture trustee. Why a trustee? Because a debenture issue has thousands of holders. You cannot have each one running to court separately. So, a debenture trustee is appointed to protect all of them together. Two comparisons you must remember. So, the two companies that carry marks in the exam, shareholders versus debenture holder. A shareholder is an owner, gets dividend, has voting rights. A debenture holder is a creditor, gets fixed interest, no voting rights. On winding up, the debenture holder is paid before the shareholder. And that's the answer to the question I opened with. When a company winds up, the debenture holder gets paid first because a lender is always paid before an owner. Now, coming to the types of charge. A fixed charge is a specific unchanging asset like land or building. A floating charge is on a changing asset like stock in trade and it crystallizes on default. What does crystallizes mean? Simply, a floating charge hovers over your ever changing stock without tying down any particular item. So you can keep buying and selling stock normally. But the moment you default, it freezes. It fixes onto whatever stock exits at that moment, and from then on, you can't touch it. And finally, every charge must be registered with the ROC, the Register of Companies, under Section 77. A quick recap. Two kinds of share capital, equity and preference. Alter capital by ordinary resolution, reduce it by special resolution plus NCLT. New shares go first to the existing shareholders, the rights issue. Bonus shares come from the reserves. Buyback is capped at 25% with a 2 is to 1 debt to equity limit. The debenture is a debt, the holder is a creditor paid before the shareholders, and charges are fixed or floating registered with the ROC. If you could answer who gets paid first before I told you, brilliant, you are exam ready. If not, rewatch the last 2 minutes. It's worth it. The free notes and the 10 MCQ are in the pinned comment. Go test yourself and drop your score below. Next lecture would be membership and the transfer of securities. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you there.